Hey everybody, this is Scott with Everything Starts Somewhere. Today we're going to cover how to make a YouTube short. Start by creating a new project and then giving it a name, something that makes sense to you. This one, how to make YouTube shorts. Click the plus icon to save the name and get ready to start importing our media. We have media in the upper left corner. If you select it just by clicking on it once, it's going to show in a preview window. You can see it loading in now. And you can watch it up here, make sure it's the correct video that you want. And then whenever you're ready to move it into your timeline, you can double click it or you can click and drag. Just going to bring in another video. It'll drop in right at the insertion point on the timeline. So now I've got two videos in here to edit. Single click the left arrow to move back one, or double click it to move back to the beginning of the video. And I just click the gear icon in the bottom right corner to bring up the settings, and I change the aspect ratio of the video from 16:9 landscape to 9:16 portrait. With the first clip selected, I rewind to the beginning and I tap the pencil icon to go in and reposition the image within the frame. I'm going to use keyframes to be able to adjust the video throughout the timeline. Simply click the small white dots there and you'll see it puts a blue dot up on the timeline. Now each time that I reposition the frame, it's going to add another keyframe, so I can continue doing this across the timeline. I can hit the small arrow up under that window to watch it play to see how it looks.
Oh no!
Continue adding keyframes and making adjustments across this clip until you get it lined up exactly where you want it. And a nice freeze frame of me here driving horribly and sliding into some really deep mud. Click the back arrow to return to the main screen, and we're going to select the next clip and hit the little pencil icon to go into edit again. And we'll do the same thing. We'll use keyframes to get this adjusted just where we want it. Since we went from a 16:9 landscape to a 9:16 portrait, you lose a lot of what is on the side, so need to get it adjusted so we have what's going on. So that's Tony, and we need to get him moved over so where he's in the frame so we can see all of him in there. I hit the rewind button to go back to the beginning of the clip so I can watch it again and make sure it's getting framed up correctly. I continue going back and forth making adjustments until I have it lined up right where I want. Sometimes I'll do this 3 or 4 times, sometimes 5 or 6 times, until I have it exactly where I want. Once I am done with that and I'm happy with it, I'll watch it and then I'll go ahead and hit that back arrow to go back out to the main screen. Just one more adjustment, then I can get back out to the main screen. Now that I'm back on the main screen, I'm going to rewind to the beginning and watch the entire video from beginning to end to make sure that it lines up the way that I want it to, and the framing looks good for the first and the second video clips. It's looking good so far as I slide back into the deep mud. And there we go into the second clip. Let's have Tony come in. Yep, he lines up right where I want him to. And next I'm going to put in a title. Up in the upper left corner, click that and it lets you select what you want to put in. I'm selecting titles. There's a whole list of them there. I'm simply going to click and drag it down to drop it where I want it. I'm putting this one at the very end, and it's just going to say thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We get into the text editor the same way we did for the video editor, just by clicking the pencil. Once it comes in here, just double tap on the text and it's going to highlight it for you. And then you can start typing whatever you want, get it sized, adjusted, and framed. I'm going to click done over to the right in the bottom, and then you can select a different style if you want to make it stand out. And you can adjust the thickness of the white borders or the colors, whatever you'd like to do. With all the tools that are there, you can scroll up and down. There's quite a few tools, and it makes it pretty nice. You can bring it back over and see what it looks like in your main screen. Now that I have that back in my main screen, I'm going to go back to the top and click again, and this time I'm going to select transitions, and I'm simply going to grab the transition that I want, drag it down and drop it over the part of the video I want the transition. So between each of my 2 video clips, and then between that second clip and the text I put at the end. And you can adjust how long that transition takes simply by grabbing those double arrows and moving them left or right and see what it looks like. And now that we have those transitions in, I'm going to go up and click linked folders, and I'm going to go and grab my Everything Starts Somewhere logo, and I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to drop it just above my video, so it's going to be layered on top of it. and I'm going to click that pencil icon to go in and do some editing. I'm going to adjust the size of it down to where it looks good, and then I'm going to move it into the upper left corner. And then I'm also going to decrease the opacity a little bit. That way you can still see the video through it that's coming in behind it. And once I have that done, I'll go back out to the main screen, take a look at it and see how it looks, make sure I'm happy with it. Once I've got the opacity adjusted where I want it, I'm going to click the go back arrow to go back out to the main screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab that clip and drag it across the entire video. That way you see my little logo in the upper left corner all the way across. Even though YouTube will put my logo in the bottom right corner, the one that they put in is very small, so I sometimes like to put one that's a little bit larger in the upper left corner, just so everybody sees it for better brand recognition. Once that's done, I'm happy with it. I'm going to go back and now I need to grab some music. So I'm going to look through my linked folders that I've already got some music downloaded, and I'm going to look through, find the clip that I want. I can click it one time and it's going to show up in the little preview window so I can listen to it before I drop it into the timeline. Once I'm happy with the clip, I'm going to simply drag it down, drop it in the timeline where I want. Just like with the video clips and the titles, we can also go in to edit the audio. So we select the pencil icon again. Once we have the audio selected, it brings us in here. The configuration tab lets us decide whether we want to have none, auto, or master for each one of the audio tracks. We can also adjust the gain up or down. Typically I'll take a audio track that I'm bringing in with music and I'll drop it 6, 9, maybe 12 decibels and see how that sounds. I went back out to the main screen and selected the video track with the audio in it, and I want to make it the master. That way anytime there's audio in that, the music track that plays below it will duck so that you can clearly hear the audio from that main track. I repeated the same thing with that second video clip to make sure it's the master. That way that secondary music track will duck anytime I have audio in there, so you can hear us yelling, screaming, whatever we're doing. And it sounds good, and the music will come right back up again after the audio in that main track drops off. Many times I'll let the audio track play a little bit longer after the video ends, so I just went in and clipped off the excess and left just a little bit extra in there. And I'm going to go in, and same thing I did before with the video, I'm going to add a keyframe, and I'm going to cause this audio to drop off so that it fades out to almost nothing by the time that it stops, instead of just a hard cut on the music. I've got my keyframes in place, so now I'm going to grab that gain slider and move it almost all the way to the left so this drops off substantially. Once I have that done, I'm going to click the back arrow to go back to my main screen, and then I'm going to rewind to the beginning, and I'm going to watch this to see if it looks and sounds the way that I want it.
Oh no!
Hold on.
That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to double tap on the video itself. It's going to expand it to take up the full screen, and I'm going to watch this again kind of in full screen just to see if there's anything I missed when I had it in a smaller window. Make sure that I'm happy with everything, and once I'm done with that, then I'm going to move on to the export. And that all looks good, and YouTube is recommending that I watch one of my own videos, so might have to do that. So that all looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and export. Click the little export icon, select movie, and this is a short, so I'm just going to directly upload that to YouTube. The settings pop up. If I'm happy with everything, I can click on the export button, and that's going to take me into the title and description and tags. I can go in and fill what I want in here, or I can do it later once it's uploaded to YouTube. Once I have the title, tags, anything else I want, I'm going to click export, and it's going to go ahead and write the movie, and nicely it's going to go ahead and upload that directly to YouTube for me with my channel settings. It goes up as private, that way I can go in there and make sure there's no copyright issues or anything like that, and make sure I've got my thumbnail set and other things like that before I make it public. Now I'm in YouTube Studio and my video's there. I'm going to go ahead and tap it and then select the edit, same little pencil, and it brings me over here so I can make adjustments to the title or description or anything like that. I can add it to a playlist. If I have a playlist, I can select from one of the thumbnails that YouTube has pulled out of the video, or I can upload my own thumbnail. I will also check the video quality to make sure it's rendered out in high def or 4K, whatever I have, and I'll change private to public. Once I'm happy with everything, I'll go ahead and hit the save button.